We'll gather around, feel the love come down. Blue elephant is strong, together we belong. In every comment bright, you lift me to new heights. Your support, it's clear, gives me reason to cheer. Blue Elephant Crew, this one's all for you. You make dreams come true with everything you do. Each subscriber's heart.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So first off, congratulations to Terry for winning June's Members Only Challenge. Now today we are going to be making this tray, and this is the Let's Resin rectangle tray. And what I want to do is I want to try and see if I can get a bloom in it, but we're going to do some other factors too. I want to use this red by Eye Candy, and I will have all the description or all the names and everything, all the links and all that good stuff in the description box below for you. So around the edges of the tray, I want to use the red. And then for the inside, obviously we're going to go clear, and then I want to do black alcohol ink for my blooms. And I think that the red-black transition will be really pretty if it works out. So that's what we're going to do. I am using Craftor resin today. And I've already had it sitting, getting warm, all of the things that you're supposed to do. And we're just going to see how it turns out. So first off, I mixed in some of the Eye Candy red into the big cup, and then realized that in order to get it into the areas where I want it to go, it's going to be easier to put it into a disposable cup so I can kind of pinch it into a spout. It just makes my life a little bit easier. We are also going to be using Let's Resin's Ocean White Pigment Paste for the white for our bloom, and then the Let's Resin Alcohol Ink in black for the black part. Now, obviously I'm new to this. This is only my, third time really trying it. Now, the 3 videos that I did with the bloom were done all very, very close together before I ever even published the first video. So I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure things out. But what I wanted to do is I didn't want to do glitter. So I've got this red, really wanted to try it out because you know how true reds are hard to find. Now, this isn't necessarily a true red, but it is a very beautiful red. It reminds me of like crushed velvet, honestly. I just think it's absolutely stunning, but I want the edge to be predominantly red. Now, I'm not going to wait for this to cure. I'm going to go ahead and pour my clear into it afterwards. It's so thick that I'm honestly not really worried about it coming up and over into the actual like piece itself where the bloom is going to be. But if it does a little bit, I'm okay with that too. In fact, I am going to probably try and make that happen just a little bit, just a tad, right? Just to get some of that color in there. And then it's also, if I can make it work right, it won't be such a hard line, like a layered line, and because I don't necessarily want that either. So got my red in, right? I don't want to go too high. So we're just gonna go with how it is. I'm gonna make sure that it is completely everywhere. I have no air bubbles caught down there, any of that other good stuff. And now we're gonna go in with the clear. And of course I can already see glitter. Glitter, as much as I've come to love it, sometimes it's really annoying because no matter how many times you clean your mold or clean your things, glitter is just always there. It's always finding its way where it's not supposed to be. But it's fine. It'll be fine. Okay, so the resin, I mixed it up. I did run it through my Let's Resin bubble remover just to make sure that we don't have any bubbles in there whatsoever. Now, in pouring and scraping the cup within an inch of its life, there are a few bubbles that are stuck, like kind of got stuck on the silicone mold, so I will go and kind of pick those out. And now I'm just going around the edges where the mold kind of comes up and over a little bit, just to make sure that there's no air trap there. And then I decided at this time I'm gonna kind of shove my silicone stick down into the red and pull that red up a little bit. And like I said before, this is gonna, hopefully, as long as it stays, it'll make it so that that transition line between the color and the clear isn't so harsh. It doesn't look like it's a layered job. It doesn't look, it looks more organic, more natural, more flowy, more all of the things. And if it pulls a little into the top, it's okay too. Now I'm going to go in here with my alcohol ink, and again, I'm still learning about how much alcohol ink you need and all of the things. So I put it on here. Now, if you noticed, I did not use heat this time. Aren't you guys proud of me? So there was no heat used in this part. So I didn't get any of those weird, you know how like my alcohol ink didn't spread in that rainbow coaster that I did. I did Okay, I used it here a little bit, but it's fine. Just a tiny little bit. It didn't do anything. So that's good. It spread out like it's supposed to. Now I did go in there with my silicone tool and I helped it out a little bit. Now I'm gonna attempt to do 3 different blooms, and then I'm just gonna go in there and put a bunch of white in. One of the things that I have noticed, and I know you guys have noticed, is that I'm not using enough white. So hopefully this time there will be enough white in there and we actually see it and it blooms and does the things that it's supposed to do. So I'm going in, making 3 different kind of flower deals. I mean, we'll see if they actually turn out. I don't feel like anything I've done so far has even remotely resembled a flower in any manner of speaking, but we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. But I am going to go in there and just draw my lines. Now I'm doing at the 12, 3, 6, 9, and then the in between, having that and doing it in between those numbers. Then I decided, because I had a little bit more red left, that I'm just going to take just a tiny, tiny little drizzle of it and go along the edges where I have the red initially. And this is just going to, honestly, I mean, it may not do anything, but if it falls, it'll help with that clear and the transition. If it pulls in a little bit, it'll just kind of help bring it all together, right? And I'm really just using just the tiniest little bit. That's it. We're going to let this do its thing. Okay, so next day, now it's time to make the backing resin for our piece and finish this off. So I'm using Bond Crafter's epoxy resin for this. I'm using Cessio Pearl White. It's like a shimmer white or something like that. It's like a super sparkle kind of sort of almost. Instead of having a glittery look, it has a super shimmery look to it. You could probably use it as a super sparkle. I wanted white in the background because I like the classic black, red, and white colors. Like, I like that color scheme a lot. So I wanted white, but I didn't want a flat white. I wanted something to stand out just slightly different from the bloom white that I used. So that's gonna do this. No, that's not gonna do this. That is what that is going to do. Split it up, put it in my bubble remover. Now it's time to put the backing on, and hopefully, this looks okay when we demold and it's done something. I mean, it looks like it's done a little bit of bloomy, but hopefully we actually see the white in there and I don't have any blobs or anything like that, but we'll see. We'll see. Now, I did go around all of the 90-degree angles, especially where the resin is meeting up from the last cured layer, just to make sure that there are no bubbles there. Quick spritz of alcohol and then set it off to dry. I filled up these with the leftover red and white that I had just in some of my molds. I used all my into resin kind of little molds, the little butterflies, the flower, and the big water ripple butterfly, because I had some left over. It was getting like crazy ridiculously thick at the point that this was going on. I didn't film it because I didn't have the time. Like, I'm surprised any one of these pieces turned out at all because of the fact of how thick it was. I didn't think it was going to go in any of these little intricate pieces, which, you know, I probably should have chose something a little bit simpler, but it's fine. It's fine. It'll be fine. They actually all turn out okay, so I didn't have any issues. I do like the red and white. I think it looks really pretty together. We are going to add some of these pieces to our piece just to deck it out a little bit more. Maybe. It all depends on if this turns out. But we're going to have to wait a minute here to figure it out if I can ever get this butterfly demold. I tell you what, guys, me and these nails, like, they're pretty and everything, but they make my life a little bit harder. A little bit harder so I don't break them off. It's a thing. I don't know how people function with them. I really truly don't. Like, I struggle. My day-to-day life is a struggle with these things. I'm not even lying. Okay, on to the main event. This mold is actually really, really easy to demold. All you have to do is kind of just go around all of your edges and just break that seal and then pop out each one of these corners individually. Bam, done. Super simple. Not hard at all, and it comes out beautifully every single time. Like, the silicone isn't so, like, it's a sturdier silicone, but it's not one of those ones that's so hard to demold like some of them are, you know what I mean? Like, this is actually pretty easy. So I got the first two corners out, broke the seal from the bottom of it, and then this side popped out super, super crazy easily. And you can already see, if you look at the edges, how the red just kind of moved a little bit. Like, we have some clear patches, yes, but then we have the movement on the side that makes it so it's not just a plain straight line and then a bunch of clear and then white. You know what I mean? The red did pull in around the edges a little bit, which turned out pretty cool. I did get a good bloom. I got a bloom. It doesn't look like a flower. Well, the one in the middle on the bottom, kind of sort of ish, like, you can maybe see a flower in there if I didn't have so much other stuff going on. But all in all, I'm getting it. Like, it did something. We see white. I'm pretty proud of myself right now. I don't know. Like, anyway. All right. So what I decided was I think it needs something else. So I am going to take the little butterflies that I used from the Let's Resin mold, or no. It's the Into Resin little butterfly mold. And I'm going to use some B7000 glue, and I'm going to glue these babies on. Now, to keep them in place, because I'm putting one on each side of the tray just to give it a little bit more interest. To keep them in place, I did use a little bit of painter's tape after I put the glue. That's just so that they don't slide and move, and I just don't have to do one side at a time. I can line them all up, you know, by eyeballing as much as possible and then get them on there. And then I decided that for the corners of it, I'm just going to add a few little rhinestones on there. And we're going to do something with the flower as well. I'm going to bounce off real quick while you kind of watch me go through this. And then I will be back when we are ready for the next step.
Day by day I try to a DJ mix. Prayed to the resin gods for tricks. Held my breath and stood on my head. The bloom kinda winked and then it fled. Oh, resin bloom. Oh, resin bloom. Why you gotta be my doom? I'm squinting hard, I'm seeing stars. It's a heart of chaos in a mason town. Oh, resin bloom. Oh, resin bloom. Why you gotta steal my room? One eye closed, the other askew. Are you a masterpiece or Elmer's glue? I spun it around like a DJ mix. Prayed to the resin gods for tricks. Held my breath and stood on my head. The bloom kinda winked and then it
Alright, I am back. So, just finishing up the last couple rhinestones. I didn't want to go too crazy with them. Just a couple, just to add a little bit extra something in there. So I went with a big one and two smaller ones on there, and then that's it for this part. Now, I also want to include this flower. So what I decided to do is, mainly for two reasons. One, I really like the flower. I think it'll help bring it out and just add a little bit of extra feature to it. So I mixed up just like 30 milliliters of Bond Crafter's tabletop resin, added just the teeny tiniest little amount of Rolio Pearl White, which is like a super sparkle, to it. Mix that up. Now, my mold on this one is, there's a small little part on it, on the actual like tray part, like where you would put stuff in, that is messed up. So I need to do a top coat on it to get rid of that. So no matter what I do, unless I cover it up somewhere, somehow, which even if I cover it up, I still need to do a top coat. I will always have to do a top coat in this particular mold because it has that blemish on it. Now, for this, I decided that the flower would work. It's the same colors. It'll bring in that red a little bit more. And just like I said, add a little bit of something extra to it. I mixed up the tabletop resin super fast, which you shouldn't do, right? It's resin and we don't want bubbles. But because I am putting this really thin, like I don't need a thick layer. I am putting like the absolute bare minimum that I can put in here without it pulling away from the edges and it, leaving a line that I don't want. So I'm just using a little bit, which means that it's going to be super thin. So those bubbles are going to come out. Plus, you saw I really used my heat gun. I mean, I blasted that and the majority of the bubbles came out anyway, just in doing that alone. And the reason I did that was to thin out this resin. If you've never used a tabletop resin before, it is only meant for obviously like your top coats and stuff like that. Something that is going to be done in a very thin coat. That is what it's for. You're not casting with it. You're not putting it into molds, anything like that. It's a thin layer. So you're going to get bubbles. It's not something that you're going to put through a bubble remover. It's honestly, a bubble remover would make it worse. But because it's going to be so thin, 90% of the time the bubbles will come out. Now, if I was doing a coaster, right, and I'm just doing a top coat, not a flood coat, I would not have mixed it quite so crazily because you're not going to be able to put that much heat onto it without breaking your surface tension. But because this has 4 walls around it where I don't have to worry about the resin running over if I thin it out, I wasn't stressed about it. So just keep that in mind for those of you who have not used a tabletop resin, that depending on what you're doing, depends on what you're doing, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would have done it differently if I was doing it something else as opposed to this. Okay, so got my flour in. Now I did just take my silicone tool and put a little bit of resin on the back of it, just to kind of help from any air bubbles, so that it's resin on resin as opposed to, nothing on there, and then I get air bubbles popping through and all of that fun stuff. Anyway, here is the finished piece. I think it turned out pretty cute. Again, my bloom isn't necessarily flower, but it did bloom. Anyway, that is a wrap on this one, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and I will see you on Saturday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
Together we belong. In every comment, right? You lift me to new heights. Your support, it's clear, gives me reason to cheer. Blue elephant crew, this one's out for you. You make dreams come true with everything you do. Each subscriber's heart playing a vital part. Videos we share, showing how much we care. Likes and shares, they grow.